today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to go from something that looks like this to this, or maybe a more stylized look like this. What is going on, everybody? I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet in this intro here, and we're just going to dive right into how to turn this talking head scene into something that looks way better. So let's dive right into it. All right, so step one is going to be finding your composition and choosing the right lens to shoot on. So when it comes to finding the composition, you want to make sure that you're moving your camera around your space that you're shooting in. And I'm looking around my studio here because I'm just thinking about all the times that I have put my camera in all different areas of this room and have tried to create compositions for my YouTube videos. So far, shooting straight against this back wall with my desk behind me has been my favorite look, so that's what we're gonna roll with in today's video. But don't be afraid to move the camera around and try out different looks and different frames. Don't just slap the tripod down first try and be like, okay, this is the frame that we're rolling with, because you may have a better looking composition in your room and you didn't even give it the time of day. So take your time when it comes to finding your composition, because it's very important. Another thing to think about when it comes to finding your composition is your background. You want to make sure that your background is interesting, but not too busy. And you want to make sure it's clean, but not too boring, if that makes sense. So as you guys can see behind me, I'm just sitting in front of my desk. Got my computer back there, a couple of plants. I got some sound panels up on the wall, a print on that shelf with a little practical light, which when I turn that on later, you'll see the effect that that has on the frame. But yeah, to me, I think this looks great. It's on brand with my style. And that's another really important thing. You want to make sure that you're on brand with your own personal style, because at the end of the day, this is your channel. This is your YouTube video. You want to make it look the best, and you want to make people feel like they know you. And another way to tie into that feeling, into that vibe, is the lens that you're shooting on. So I'm currently shooting on the Sony 35mm f1.4 G Master lens, and I really love the 35mm focal length. It's probably my favorite focal length. It's so versatile. You can get close-up shots, you can get wide shots, and for these talking head type videos, especially for YouTube, it's kind of wide but not too wide, and it's kind of tight but not too tight. And I think it's just the perfect focal length. It's very comfortable. And here in my space, I really like the way that it cuts off the frame behind me, because I have these two huge windows right here to my left side, which is currently acting as my key light. And since it cuts off the frame just perfectly here back in this corner, as you can see, once we control the lighting, which will come in the next step, you guys aren't even gonna know that I have windows here. So if I didn't tell you that, you wouldn't even notice. And we're gonna try to motivate a light source later, which I will also get into, so stick around. But the main point that I'm trying to get at is choosing the right lens within your space. If you have more room than I do within your space that you're shooting in, you could easily shoot on like a 50mm, maybe even an 85mm. Those two lenses are really good for talking head type stuff. It makes faces look good. It doesn't distort the image that much, and it adds a ton of compression to the background. So it separates you from the background, making you pop more, because you are the focus of the video. And we got to make sure that we have some sort of separation between us and the background. Real quick, guys, I would hate to interrupt this video, but I got something really cool to show you, and that's this ring on my finger right here. If you guys think that this looked familiar to you, that's because it does. This is Peter McKinnon's collaboration ring with the company Clocks and Colors. They actually reached out to me and sent me over a couple of pieces for myself to wear and just step up my fashion game. So they sent me over this necklace as well. Let me pull this out. But if you're looking to take your wardrobe to the next level and really just spice things up a bit, grab some accessories from Clocks and Colors. I have a 20% off discount code down in the description below, so go grab some pieces. Let's get back to the video. All right, so step two is going to be controlling your light. All right, so as you guys can see right here to the left of me, I have these two huge windows that are diffused with muslin. And yeah, it creates a really nice soft light across my face, but we want to control the light as much as possible so we can really dial in this look. So what I'm going to do right now is close these windows. They're just blackout curtains, so no light will come through at all. Then we're going to bring some lights into the scene and, start to set up our key light. All right, so this is kind of a stupid frame to show, but I just want you guys to see that the room is completely dark now, and the only light is coming from my computer screen directly behind me. Now when we bring in the key light and the background light, you're gonna see it all start to take shape and take form. And since the room is in complete darkness, we're gonna have total control over the lighting. All right, so the lights that we're gonna be using in today's video are both from Godox, and the first light we're gonna bring into the scene is our key light right here. This is the Godox SL200, and we're gonna bring this into the room and get the key light set up, but we're not gonna get the levels set up exactly how we need them to be. Watch where you go with your light stands. All right, so for the sake of me setting up right now, I just turned on the overhead lights, so sorry if it looks like crap, but we're gonna bring in the softbox right here. This is from Newer. This is a 46 inch or like a 36 inch or something. I don't know. It's a pretty big softbox, as you guys can see. We're just gonna slap this on the Godox right here as my key lights, and this is gonna offer a really nice, soft, and diffused light across my face. All right, so I'm gonna take the key light here and put it off to the right of where I'll be sitting in frame. And I'm just gonna raise the light up and position it at a 45-degree angle from where I'll be sitting here in frame. All right, so we got the camera set up right here and the key light set up 45 degrees from where I'll be sitting, which is right here. So the reason why I keep the key light set up to a 45-degree angle from myself is because it creates this little pocket of light here on the left side of my face, this little triangle, and that's called Rembrandt lighting. Rembrandt lighting is a technique that has been around literally for centuries, and I'm not going to talk about it in this video because this is already becoming a long video, so I'll leave some links down in the description below for those of you interested in learning more about different lighting techniques. But Rembrandt is one of my favorite techniques for these talking head type videos because it creates a lot of depth between the highlight side of my face and the shadow side of my face without being too moody and too contrasty. So yeah, we're rolling with the Rembrandt stuff today. So that is that. So you could totally get by with just using this one light to create this scene that you're seeing right here, but we're gonna take this up just a notch and I'm gonna turn on this lamp in the background to act as a practical light and also create a little bit of a rim on the left side of my head right here. So let's do that. All right, I think that looks pretty good. And pro tip, I have that light on a dimmer back there, so that way there you can really dial in how bright you want your practical light within the scene. But I really love practical lights within scenes because it just makes the viewer feel like it just feels normal when you look at a scene, you know what I mean? You see a lamp and it just feels normal, it feels real, and it adds a bit of interest and also acts as a little hair light, a little separation from you and your background without having to rig up a hair light. Now we could 100% rig up a hair light somewhere, boom it over me and hit the back of my head, the top of my head, and really separate me from the background, but personally, I'm not a huge fan of that look. I like the subtle hair light style. I just think it looks more realistic. It looks a bit more, you know, natural and organic. So yeah, that's why I use practical lights as hair lights and rim lights and things like that. And I'm also not trying to completely crowd my space with light stands and boom poles and things like that. Like, we're not trying to get too technical. We're trying to do this as simply as possible. And yeah, I think using practical lights are a great way of adding a bit of rim. All right, so now that we have the scene looking pretty good, pretty dialed in, and we have full control of not only our key light, but also our practical light, it's time to bring in one more light that we're gonna shoot across the back wall and just make things pop a little bit more and make this key light feel like it's being motivated from the light that's gonna be shining on the wall. And I'll show you guys that in just a second, but yeah, we gotta go get that light, so let's do that. All right, so the light that we're gonna use for the background is, again, from Godox, like I said before, and it's this one right here. This is the SZ150R. It's a full bicolor RGB light, and there's plenty of videos out on YouTube about this light, so I'm not gonna go too crazy in depth, but this is an amazing light. It's probably like my favorite light that I've picked up recently. Yeah, I love it so much, and I'm gonna pair it with this thing right here. This is what's called a Fresnel mount or something. It's pretty much like a spotlight mount. We're gonna slap this onto the front of the light like this. All right, so this is what it looks like mounted to the light. It looks completely ridiculous, I know, but this piece, this thing right here will allow us to really like shape the light and shoot it onto the background. And you guys will see what I mean by that. Say hi to Devin, eat an apple.
Hey guys, apple a day keeps the doctor away.
That it does, brother. So yeah, we're gonna take this light in now. We're gonna set this up, spray it onto the background, and show you guys what I mean. Holy crap, this is heavy. Oh, jeez. All right, so for the sake of this next example, I turned off my key light and I just have that Fresnel spotlight blasting onto the background. And if we get up and walk over to the Fresnel, as you can see, I'm walking through the light right now. It's extremely harsh. But I have the light mounted on this light stand, hiked all the way up top here, and it's just blasting light into the corner of the room where I have my talking head set up. All right, so these guys right here are called gobos. These are just little pieces of like sheet metal that have cutouts with different patterns and textures and stuff. And the set that I have here from Godox, these all have like different window cutouts. So this looks like a pair of blinds on a window. This just looks like a window frame, and it has all these cool little patterns and textures. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this one, which looks like a bunch of little VIN blinds, and we can slot it into that slot that I pointed out on this Fresnel, which I'll show you right now. All right, so I have the gobo here, and then there's this little like gobo holder, I guess you can call it. We're just gonna put the gobo in here, and then we're gonna slot this into this slot, I guess. I keep saying slot, but you guys know what I mean. Then when we turn this light back on, we hike it back up. All right, so if you turn and look at the back wall now, you can see the texture of that light. All right, so you can kind of see the texture of that light on the wall, but the cool thing about that Fresnel is that you can actually focus that beam to really make those blinds, that fake window light, stand out. So let's bring this back down, and I can see the beam of light on the wall over there. And now I'm just gonna kind of focus this front element. And now we have texture on the background. All right, so now that I've added that backlight shooting across the wall behind me, you can very, very faintly see that blind pattern that is coming through the windows. And since I have the key light set up to my right here, the same direction as that backlight, it's almost looking like this key light right here is motivating me from that window, right? That quote unquote fake window that I just set up to blast onto the background wall. And that's really all we wanted to do here, was we wanted to motivate that backlight that's hitting the wall behind me, make it look like it's coming through a window. And then we're gonna use the key light from the same side as that background light to act as our motivation for the key light source here. And then I just dialed in my key light here so that way there wasn't too overpowering for the scene. And I think all my levels look pretty good in terms of exposure here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you're gonna get this look. And I have done this in the past. I will leave a link to that video somewhere on the screen here or down in the description below. And when I did this in the past, I did it on a much cheaper budget with cheaper lights. And yeah, today we're doing it with more expensive, more professional lights with a better solution for the background light. And you guys can go check out that video to see what I mean. And what's really cool about the light that I'm using for the background, that SZ150R from Godox, is that we can actually change the color or the temperature of that light completely and really get a unique look, something that, you know, is more your style. If you want to throw like some shade of RGB on the background, let's actually do that right now and see what we can do. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch out the gobo. So we're gonna pull this one out, and I'm gonna swap it out for this one. Looks pretty cool. Can you see that? Looks pretty cool. I'm gonna slot this in here, and we're gonna drop this back into the gobo slot. I don't know if that's what it's called, but I've said slot about 100 times in this video, and we are rolling with the slot. Since we have that background light, the practical light that's in my main frame, since it's like a tungsten orange look, I'm gonna set this light to teal. I'm gonna jack this back up, slap it on the background. And what that's gonna do is add some sort of color contrast, right, between the teal light coming out of this and the orange practical light in the frame. And it's just gonna add a more stylized feel. All right, so as you guys can see, now I have a little touch of teal on the background there behind me. And I'm not a huge fan of this look, but this is something that you can do, and you can play around with those colors, right? You can have a different practical light color and then blast a different color on the background, whatever floats your boat. But this is just to kind of show you guys what you can do, the opportunities, the possibilities, whatever you want to create, you can do it with that light. And I think that's awesome to have as a tool, as a creator, you know what I mean? So that's why I really love these two Godox lights. That's why I really love these two Godox lights. That's hard to say. So that's really why I love these two Godox lights. I had a really hard time saying that, a little bit of a tongue twister there. But when you pair them up together, they're just a match made in heaven. I know that sounds so corny and whack, but whatever, you guys get the idea. That's pretty much gonna wrap it up for today's video as well. This has been a long one and kind of a messy, all over the place one, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it, and I hope you can step up your YouTube talking head situation, get things looking crispy, get things looking nice, more professional. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button down below. It really helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.